Nmirinma continued to cry. An obscene amount of tears fell from her eyes, each drop hitting the ground with a resonant splash. The tears did not simply soak into the earth. They began to pool and increase in volume. Fear gripped the onlookers as they watched the water rise, forming a deep river that encircled the area covered by the dark clouds. Ekenkwa was the heart of Ada village. It was a vibrant place where traders from within and outside the village came to buy and sell goods. The market was always filled with the sounds of haggling, laughter, and the clinking of coins. However, beneath the lively atmosphere lay an undercurrent of tension. The indigenes of Ada were known for their hostility towards foreign traders. They imposed heavy fines and demanded homage to the king, justifying it as a means to protect their market and maintain its high standards. This went on for years, and the foreign traders had no choice but to comply. That was until one market day when a strikingly beautiful woman named Nmirinma arrived. Nmirinma was not from Ada. She hailed from a distant unknown village. She set up her stall with an array of vibrant fabrics, intricate beadworks, and exotic spices. From the moment she opened her stall, Nmirinma attracted a crowd. Her goods were of the highest quality, and her warm, inviting smile drew customers in. By midday, she had sold more than any other trader in the market. The market women of Ada, who had always dominated the trade, watched in disbelief and envy. "Who does she think she is?" one of them muttered. "Coming here and taking our customers. She must be taught a lesson," another agreed. "We cannot let her outsell us in our own market." The women of Ada, led by Onyinye, decided to confront Nmirinma. They surrounded her stall, their faces twisted with anger. "You think you can come here and take over our market?" Onyinye spat. "We shall teach you a lesson." Nmirinma looked up calmly, her eyes meeting Onyinye's. "I'm here to trade, just like you. There is enough for everyone." But the market women were not interested in reason. They stormed off as they talked among themselves. Nmirinma had a natural warmth that made people feel welcome. Her stall was always arranged beautifully with vibrant fabrics and intricate beadwork, displayed in an inviting manner. She greeted every customer with a genuine smile and a friendly demeanor, making them feel valued and appreciated. She took the time to get to know her customers. She remembered their names, their preferences, and even small details about their lives. This personal touch made her customers feel special and created a loyal customer base. The quality of her goods was unmatched. She brought the finest fabrics, the most intricate beadwork, and the freshest spices from her village. Her products were not only beautiful, but also durable and well crafted. Customers knew that when they bought from Nmirinma, they were getting the best. The market women of Ada held secret meetings to plan their sabotage. They agreed to spread false rumors about Nmirinma's goods, claiming they were poor quality. But not every market woman agreed with these tactics. Some felt it was unfair and dishonorable to treat Nmirinma this way. However, the fear of Onyinye's wrath and the desire to protect their own interests kept them silent. They reluctantly went along with the plan, hoping it would drive Nmirinma away. But they were wrong. They thought they could intimidate her into leaving, but Nmirinma was not easily frightened. One morning, Nmirinma arrived at her stall. To her shock, all her fabrics had been completely destroyed. Some of the fabrics had large holes in them. Some were completely torn to shreds, while some had palm oil stains on them. Nmirinma was sad and heartbroken. To think that these women would go to this length to put her out of business. Onyinye and the other women gathered in front of her shop and laughed at her. "Why did you do this? This cost a lot of money. I have done nothing wrong to any of you." "You think you are better than any of us?" spat Onyinye. "Do you think you can just come into Ada and steal our customers? You think you can put us out of business? Well, this is just a warning and a reminder. Be very careful, Nmirinma. This is Ada. We don't take too kindly to strangers who show off. The women walked away as they talked and laughed out loud. Nmirinma stood and watched as the women returned to their various stalls. Tears ran down her face. Her customers were disappointed that day. Nmirinma salvaged what was left of her fabrics, apologized to her customers who were waiting, and left. Some sympathized with her, others warned her to be careful. The market women were grateful and felt accomplished. Nmirinma's absence that day gave them a lot of sales. Nmirinma decided to report the matter to the market union, hoping for justice and support. She showed them the evidence of the damage. She expected the leaders to take her concerns seriously and address the injustice she was facing. The union leaders, however, were not as sympathetic as she had hoped. Instead, they dismissed her complaints and downplayed the severity of the sabotage. Then suggested that Nmirinma was overreacting. One of the leaders, a stern woman named Madam Ifoma, spoke on behalf of the group. "These things happen in the market," Madam Ifoma said dismissively. "You must learn to coexist peacefully with the other traders. Perhaps you should seek peace with the market women and avoid drawing too much attention to yourself." Nmirinma was taken aback. "But I haven't done anything wrong. Why should I apologize or seek peace when I'm the one being wronged?" Madam Ifoma's expression hardened. "You are new here, Nmirinma. It is not wise to outshine the indigene. This market has its own ways, and you must respect them if you wish to continue trading here." Nmirinma felt a deep sense of injustice. She had come to Ada with the intention of trading fairly. She had treated everyone with kindness and respect. Yet, she was being punished for her success. The union's response made her feel isolated and unsupported. She couldn't understand why she was being asked to apologize for something she hadn't done. The idea of seeking peace with those who had wronged her felt like a betrayal of her principles. Despite her hurt and frustration, she knew she had to remain strong. So, she decided that she would not let the injustice break her spirit. She would continue to trade with integrity and kindness, and she would find a way to overcome the challenges. For many years, Nkoli had endured the bullying and harassment from the market women. They saw her as an outsider, despite her marriage to one of their own. Her husband, Ife, had tried everything to make the bullying stop. He spoke to the women, appealed to the village elders, and even confronted some of the worst offenders directly. But the bullying continued, fueled by a deep-seated prejudice and a desire to maintain control over the market. When Nkoli heard about the sabotage of Nmirinma's goods, she felt a deep sense of injustice. She knew what it was like to be targeted and mistreated, and she could not stand by and watch another woman suffer the same fate. Nkoli decided to reach out to Nmirinma to offer her support and sympathy. One evening, after the market had closed and most of the traders had gone home, Nkoli approached Nmirinma's stall. "Nmirinma," she called softly, not wanting to startle her. Nmirinma looked up, surprised to see Nkoli standing there. "Nkoli, what brings you here?" Nkoli stepped closer, her expression filled with sympathy. "I heard about what happened to your goods. I wanted to let you know that not everyone in this market supports what was done to you. I am truly sorry for what you are going through." Nmirinma's eyes softened. "Thank you, Nkoli. It means a lot to hear that. It's been difficult, but I won't let them drive me away." Nkoli nodded. "I understand. I've faced similar treatment for years. My husband has tried to help, but the bullying never stopped. I know how it feels to be targeted just because you are different." The two women shared a moment of silent understanding. Nkoli's support did not end with words of sympathy. She began to visit Nmirinma's stall regularly, and they became friends. Nmirinma continued to trade with integrity and kindness, and found a way to overcome the challenges. Her success grew, so did her reputation for high-quality goods, and her warm, inviting presence drew even more customers. Just like before, by noon her stock was often sold out, and she had built a loyal customer base who appreciated her fairness and kindness. However, the market women of Ada were not ready to accept this. They saw Nmirinma's growing popularity as a threat to their dominance and decided to strike again, this time targeting her most valuable items, her intricate and expensive beads. One day, Nwaka, one of the women, came to distract her. She told Nmirinma that the leaders of the union were requesting to speak with her. When Nmirinma left, some of the women sneaked into her stall and began their work. They used sharp objects to cut the strings of the bead necklaces, causing the beads to scatter and mix with dirt and debris on the ground. When Nmirinma returned to her stall and saw the destruction, she felt a wave of despair. Her beautiful intricate beads, which she had painstakingly crafted, lay scattered and ruined. The sight of the damaged goods and the thought of the effort and resources wasted brought tears to her eyes. So she was lured away from her stall so that they could destroy her goods once again. As Nmirinma was painstakingly picking up the scattered beads, her heart heavy with the weight of the recent sabotage, she heard footsteps approaching. She looked up to see Onyinye, the formidable leader of the market women, standing before her with a smug expression. Nmirinma looked up cautiously, unsure of what to expect. Onyinye looked down at the beads scattered on the ground and then back at Nmirinma. "I see you are having some trouble with your goods," she said, her tone dripping with false sympathy. Nmirinma straightened up, meeting Onyinye's gaze. "Yes, it seems someone has decided to ruin my hard work." Onyinye smirked. "These things happen in the market, but I can make it stop. I can ensure that no one touches your goods again." Nmirinma's eyes narrowed. "And what would that cost me?" Onyinye's smile widened. "It's simple. You direct 70% of your customers to me and the other women. Tell them that our goods are better, that they should buy from us instead." Nmirinma felt a surge of anger and disbelief. "You want me to betray my customers and lie to them? I can't do that. They trust me because I am honest and fair." Onyinye's expression hardened. "Think carefully, Nmirinma. If you refuse, you will face more damage. This is just the beginning. Brace yourself for what is to come." Nmirinma took a deep breath, her resolve strengthening. "I will not betray my customers or my principles. I came here to trade fairly and honestly. If you think you can intimidate me into compromising my values, you are mistaken." Onyinye's eyes flashed with anger. "You really think you are better than the rest of us, don't you? You will regret this." "Maybe, but I would rather face the consequences of standing up for what is right than live with the shame of betraying those who trust me." Onyinye leaned in closer, her voice low and menacing. "Very well, but remember, you brought this upon yourself. The next time, it won't just be the beats. Brace yourself, Nmirinma. More damage is coming your way." With that said, Onyinye turned and walked away, leaving Nmirinma to contemplate the threat. Despite the fear that gnawed at her, Nmirinma felt a sense of pride in her decision. She knew that standing up to Onyinye was dangerous, but she also knew that compromising her integrity was not an option. She looked up to see an elderly woman approaching her stall. She was frail and walked with a cane, but her eyes were sharp and wise. She introduced herself as Mama Eze, a respected elder from Ada. "I have been watching you, my child," Mama Eze said. "You have shown great strength and patience. Do not let these women drive you away." Nmirinma smiled gratefully. "Thank you, Mama Eze. I will not give up." Mama Eze nodded. "Good. But remember, sometimes strength lies in knowing when to seek help." "What should I do, Nne?" asked Nmirinma. "What can I do to stop this?" "Go to the Igwe," said Mama Eze. "But Nne, I heard that just like the union, the Igwe won't do anything about it." "Go and lay your complaints, my child, and see what happens then." Following Mama Eze's advice, she decided to take her complaints to the highest authority in the village, the Igwe, the traditional ruler of Ada. She hoped that Igwe would see the unfairness of her situation and take actions to protect her. Upon her arrival, Nmirinma was ushered into the Igwe's presence. The Igwe, a dignified man with a commanding presence, listened as Nmirinma presented her case. She spoke of the repeated sabotage, the threats from Onyinye, and the lack of support from the market women. She pleaded for the Igwe to intervene and ensure that justice was served. The Igwe listened patiently, his expression unreadable. When Nmirinma finished, he took a moment before responding. Nmirinma, I understand your concerns. However, the market is a place of competition, and conflicts are bound to arise. It is important to maintain peace and harmony among the traders. Nmirinma felt a pang of disappointment. But Igwe, this is not just competition. This is sabotage and bullying. I have done nothing wrong, yet I'm being targeted simply because I am successful. The Igwe sighed. I understand your frustration, but you must also understand the dynamics of our community. The market women of Ada have been trading here for generations. It is not wise to disrupt the balance. I advise you to seek peace with them and avoid further conflict. Mirima's heart sank. But Igwe, how can I seek peace when I'm being threatened and my goods are being destroyed? What should I apologize for when I have done nothing wrong? The Igwe's expression softened slightly. Sometimes it is better to compromise for the sake of peace. I will speak to the market women, but I cannot promise any drastic actions. You must find a way to coexist with them. Nmirinma left the Igwe's palace feeling a deep sense of injustice and frustration. She had hoped that the Igwe would take decisive action to protect her, but his response was similar to that of the market union, downplaying the severity of the situation and advising her to seek peace. Again, she felt isolated and unsupported by the very authorities who were supposed to uphold justice. The idea of compromising her values and apologizing for her success was unacceptable to her. Nmirinma knew that she could not give in to the bullying and threats, but she also realized that she would have to find another way to protect herself and her business. Onyinye was angered by Nkoli's growing friendship with Nmirinma. She confronted her one day in the market. With a menacing glare, she warned Nkoli to stay away from Nmirinma or face the same fate as her. If you don't distance yourself from her, you will regret it, Onyinye threatened. Nkoli, though shaking, stood her ground, determined not to abandon her friend despite the danger. Despite the threat, Nkoli continued her friendship with Nmirinma, standing by her side through the challenges. Her loyalty and courage were unwavering, and she refused to abandon her friend, even in the face of danger. She had always been curious about Nmirinma's background, especially since Nmirinma had mentioned a village name that sounded unfamiliar and strange. One afternoon, as she was helping her friend fix the beads, she said, Nmirinma, you've told me so much about your goods, but I realize I know very little about where you come from. Can you please tell me more about your village? Nmirinma smiled, a distant look in her eyes. I come from a village called Nmirinma, deep in the heart of the forest. It's a place not many have heard of, and it's known for its skilled artisans and traders. Nkoli's curiosity was piqued. Nmirinma, you were named after your village? Nmirinma nodded as she smiled. I've never heard of it, said Nkoli. What is it like? Nmirinma began to describe her village, painting a vivid picture with her words. Nmirinma is a small, close-knit community surrounded by lush forests and flowing rivers. The people there are known for their craftsmanship. We create intricate beadwork, vibrant fabrics, and unique spices that are sought after in many markets. Nkoli listened intently, fascinated by the description. It sounds like a beautiful place. No wonder your goods are so exquisite. But why did you decide to come to Ada? Nmirinma's expression grew thoughtful. I wanted to share the beauty and craftsmanship of my village with others. Besides, a lot of traders from other villages have complained of how they have been mistreated. I was curious to know if they had spoken the truth. Well, said Nkoli, now you know. Yes, now I know, Nmirinma repeated, like she was coming to a conclusion. Nkoli felt a deep sense of admiration for Nmirinma. You are very brave, Nmirinma. It takes a lot of courage to leave your home and face such challenges. I'm glad we met, and I want you to know that you have my support. Nmirinma smiled warmly. Thank you, Nkoli. Your friendship means a lot to me. Together, we can overcome these challenges and create a better market for everyone. Weeks had passed since Nmirinma's last confrontation with Onyinye. During this time, the market seemed to have settled into a peaceful routine. Nmirinma continued to trade with her usual warmth and integrity, and her customer base grew steadily. Some of the market women who had once been hostile even began to exchange pleasantries with her. It seemed as though the tension had finally eased, and Nmirinma dared to hope that the worst was behind her. One morning, as she approached her stall, she noticed a crowd gathered around it. Her heart sank as she saw the smoke rising from the charred remains of her goods. Her entire stall had been burnt down, leaving nothing but ashes and twisted metal. The sight was devastating. Nmirinma rushed forward, her eyes wide with disbelief. "What happened?" she cried, her voice trembling. A sympathetic trader who had been one of her supporters stepped forward. "We don't know for sure." As Nmirinma stood amidst the ruins of her stall, tears streamed down her face. Onyinye and her 5 accomplices stood nearby, their faces twisted with satisfaction at Nmirinma's suffering. They had come to relish the sight of her despair, but they were about to witness something far beyond their comprehension. A storm began to brew, dark clouds gathering overhead with an eerie intensity. The wind picked up, swirling around the market. But strangely, the dark clouds only covered the perimeter where Nmirinma, her stall, and the women were gathered. The rest of the market and the village of Ada remained untouched, bathed in the unsettling calm. As Nmirinma continued to cry, an obscene amount of tears fell from her eyes, each drop hitting the ground with a resonant splash. The tears did not simply soak into the earth. They began to pool and increase in volume. Fear gripped the onlookers as they watched the water rise, forming a deep river that encircled the area covered by the dark clouds. People started to run, panic spreading through the market. But Onyinye and her accomplices found themselves unable to move. It was as if an invisible force had rooted them to the ground, holding them in place to face the consequences of their actions. Nmirinma's sobs grew louder, resonating with a power that seemed to shake the very ground beneath them. Her form began to shimmer and shift, the mortal guise she had worn peeling away to reveal her true self. Her skin glowed with a radiant light, her eyes transformed into pools of liquid silver, and her hair flowed like a cascade of water, shimmering with the colors of the river. Her clothes dissolved into a flowing gown made of water and light, and a crown of river lilies appeared on her head. She stood tall and majestic, her presence commanding and awe-inspiring. The onlookers fell to their knees, unable to tear their eyes away from the being before them. Nmirinma's voice echoed through the market, powerful and resonant. I am Nmirinma, the goddess of the river that blesses your land. I have walked among you, seen your ways, and felt the pain of this street. I have given you prosperity, yet you repay my cruelty and injustice. Onyinye and her accomplices trembled, their faces pale with fear. They could not move, could not speak, as Nmirinma's gaze fell upon them. You sought to see me suffer, to destroy what I have built with kindness and integrity. For your actions, you shall face the consequences. With a wave of her hand, the waters around them surged and crashed down upon Onyinye and her accomplices, engulfing them in a torrent of water. The force of the water was immense. Immediately, Onyinye and her accomplices turned to ice, their entire form, except their eyes, which darted left and right, up and down. The villagers trembled as they were filled with a mix of fear, awe, and remorse. The market women who had once been Nmirinma's adversaries fell to their knees, begging for forgiveness. Nmirinma's form began to fade, but her voice lingered, Remember this day. Seek forgiveness. Mend your ways, and treat all to your respect. Only then will I forgive and blessings return. As the storm subsided, the onlookers ran scattered in different directions. What they had just witnessed is an experience they will not forget in a hurry. Thank you so much for listening today. If you want part 2, then comment "I want part 2" in the comments. Share this video with everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in part 2. Bye.